Welcome to the Business Buyer Diaries. My name is Nathan Platter. I'm a full-time employee, and I bought a business. I did everything right, from finding the deal, handling all the due diligence on 63 opportunities, and ultimately bought a profitable gym. And boy, was I in for a big surprise as a new owner. I chronicled everything in real time, including the biggest wins to the stressful nights at 2 a.m. I'm sharing my journey without sugarcoating anything, so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. Here's today's episode. Hey, good morning. Good to see you. Welcome back. So, last time we were here, I was back and forth on having a serious conversation with the marketing agency or the VA agency. Basically, my appointment setter, my remote salesperson, they've been struggling. They're still setting meetings. We're still getting sales, but our close rate used to be 10 to 15%. And right now, at the moment, it's about 6%, maybe 7%. There's a few factors to consider, and it's tough because I work in analytics, so I'm used to factoring in all of the variables, all the things that could be going on in the mix. So here's a few of them. One, it could be a language thing. My old sales rep was born in the Twin Cities, so he talks like a Midwesterner from Detroit. My VA, she lives in the Philippines, and so she sounds like someone who's in the Philippines. If you ever talk to customer service and you know they're overseas, she sounds like someone from there. So it sounds a little less local. So that's one factor. It could be a tonality thing that you just can't fix with this particular person. It could be that we're in an off cycle. So right now we're selling, hey, join a gym membership, instead of the last time we were selling a specific 10-week challenge. And it's very different. You're selling a concrete program versus a general interest thing. And so you need to compare that general interest sales cycle to the last general interest sales cycle. And, the lead close to book to sale, or the lead to book to show to close ratios are going to have to be apples to apples on that side. So actually, when you look at the off cycle to off cycle comparison, we're about on par. As tough as that is to swallow, we're on par, because it's hard to sell something that's just a general health. But if you sell a specific solution, people are way more likely to buy it. Not only is it easier to understand, but it's easier to purchase and validate what you're buying. And so there's less confusion for the buyer. There's also the price points. Our in-club team, they know when it's time to modify pricing. They know when it's possible to upsell, downsell, couples discount, different ways to make pricing not an issue. And when you have a remote salesperson who's not in studio having those conversations, she's more likely to stick with what she's got. And so it's more of a hard line. This is it, which is great for business tracking, but it's also tough for closing sales. So I made that. We'll find out. I don't know if this is the right call to make. I think it is. I don't know. And I'm going to stick with the current sales rep. Our challenge starts in 4 weeks. Whether I use my current team or hire brand new people, the challenge starts in 4 weeks. And so if we were to swap out the current sales rep, it'll take a week for the person to get trained, onboarded, comfortable with software. It'll then take them a week to start catching up on the old leads. And this whole time we've been doing a marketing blitz, because as of today, we're doubling our ad spend. That is happening because we have 6 weeks of marketing intensity. 4 weeks till the challenge, and then 2 weeks after the fact where we can still get a few more sales. And so, all that to say, we have a 6-week window. Can I expend 2 weeks of downtime so that we have a stronger 4 weeks? And I don't think that's a good trade-off. The way I'm reading the numbers, my intuition, I think it's better to have 6 weeks of average, maybe above average, instead of someone in my studio who's been a shift lead. He said, hey, I know how to do biz dev. I know how to do cold callings, appointment setting. I know how to do that stuff. And so my trade-off is, all right, what's the best case scenario? We completely turn off the sales rep overseas, and then we have the local guy do all of the prospecting for us, and he does stellar. And I still pay for both because I'm on a contract with that agency. Let's say he does exceptional and she does nothing. What would that financially look like? Crazy enough that in that situation, we're about in the same spot as if I have no local person and I have an overseas person doing her role. If I keep status quo, that matches the best case scenario if I make a drastic switch. And that's if it works out. If it doesn't work out, then it was a bad decision. So for better or worse, I think the right decision right now, in this moment in time, is to stay the course and work with my par above average overseas appointment setter, and to keep my local ambitious person on the sideline at the moment. He's still covering shifts. He's still doing in-person training stuff, which is great, but I can't elevate him because for better or worse, I'm boxed in with the vendor for another 7-8 weeks. So I'm starting to get a little bit more compassion for employers and companies when they're like, hey, staff want a promotion, a raise, they need to make a switch, because companies often have all these factors at play. You could have an average performer. Let's just skip that. Let's pretend you're working at Google, for example. Completely different scenario. You have a team of software coders. They're all performing average, and someone is doing below average. The time it takes to drop the below average person, hire the new person, onboard them, train them, get them up to speed, assume that they don't get any counter offers or they don't get headhunted away because now they're at your company. For better or worse, sticking the course can very tangibly be the better option than try to disrupt what you've got for a better option. So all that to say, I'm learning the difficulties when folks want promotions, they want new levels, they want an expedient timeline, they are trying to do whatever. And right now, honestly, like if my staff said, hey, I need a raise, I'd say, okay, we can happy to pay your raise. Where are we going to find the money? Even if we were profitable, like where's the money's going to get pulled out somewhere? Is it going to get pulled out of our margin on our supplements? Is it going to come out of owner compensation? Is it going to come out of the monthly profit of the studio? If it was profitable, are we going to pull it? We're not going to pull from our expense side because pretty much everything is lean as I can see it right now. And so to find profit, you need to grow revenue, especially if you have a small operation. And so I can see the trickiness when folks want 20% raise. Where's that money going to come from? So let's get out of the raise side of things. Let's come back to sticking with average or making the pivot to exceptional. I don't want to say other gurus because I'm not a guru. I'm a normal person. But a lot of other business owners will say, hire slow, fire fast. If someone's not cutting it, cut them right now. Okay, yeah, that works when you have 50 employees and one is toxic. When I've got 18 employees and basically like one major employee and like 4 like main contributor employees and then 18 very part-time employees, it depends on the person we're talking about here. I cannot just swap out. Let's pretend people said, hey, you got to fire your manager. And let's pretend that had to happen. We'll entertain that idea for a minute. The time it takes to find a manager, hire a manager, make sure the manager is going to stay, get them up to speed, get them up to relationship with the current members, that's a 2-month curve. And it's going to be a painful 2 months, especially if I'm not on site. So right now with the vendors and the sales cycle, I'm going to be sticking with the par. I'd rather go with what I can know. I'd rather keep working with my overseas sales rep. I'm going to work with her on sales tracks or sales scripts, how to overcome some objections, some questions that may throw her off. My goal is to improve what I got. That's the best decision I can make at this moment in time. It's easy to pull the plug and say, give me someone new who can get it figured out. That's easy. It's a little trickier to say, all right, we're going to work with what we have and we're going to make it work. But that's what we're going to do. I'm going to stop there because I believe I made my point by now. That's where we're at. That's where we're going. Let's rock and roll.
This has been another episode of the Business Buyer Diaries. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. I hope you're realizing that business ownership is no cakewalk. Check the podcast notes for a link to the DIY due diligence program, the complete list of show sponsors, and for media inquiries. Music written and composed by Wes Schrock. I'm your host, Nathan Platter. Join me again on the next one.